Imagine a single train so massive it stretches longer than 73 football fields, weighs as much as 18,000 elephants, and carries enough iron to build 6 Eiffel Towers. Now imagine the metal beasts powerful enough to drag that monster across deserts, mountains, and frozen tundra without ever breaking a sweat. These aren't fantasy machines from a movie, they're real locomotives that bent the laws of physics and rewrote railroad history. Let's count down 10 that pulled the truly impossible. Number 10. EMD SD40-2. Not every impossible train was pulled by a monster built for records. Some were pulled by a machine so reliable, it simply refused to fail. The EMD SD40-2, built by Electromotive Diesel starting in 1972, didn't break records with extreme horsepower or exotic engineering. It did something far more important. It showed up every single day. With 3,000 horsepower, it doesn't sound impressive compared to the giants on this list. But here's the truth modern railroads discovered very quickly. One powerful locomotive can fail. A consist of SD40-2s. Almost never does. Railroads began running them in groups, 3, 4, sometimes 6 units together, creating a flexible system capable of hauling massive freight trains across entire continents. From coal drags in the Appalachians to endless intermodal trains across the deserts, the SD40-2 became the backbone of North American railroading. And the secret was brutally simple. A proven 16-cylinder 645 E3 diesel engine, straightforward electronic, modular components that could be repaired fast, even in the field. No experimental systems, no fragile innovations, just reliability. That's why over 4,000 units were built, one of the highest production runs for any locomotive in history. Even today, more than 50 years later, SD40-2s are still in active service. Not preserved, not retired, working. And here's the real reason it belongs on this list. Some of the heaviest trains ever moved weren't pulled by one legendary machine. They were pulled by multiple SD40-2s working together day after day, year after year, quietly handling loads that would destroy less reliable locomotives. No world record, no headlines, just millions of tons moved without failure. And in the real world of railroads, that might be the most impossible achievement of all. Number 9. Norfolk and Western Y6B. While other railroads were rushing to dieselize, the Norfolk and Western was busy perfecting steam. Between 1948 and 1952, the railroad's own Roanoke shops built 30 Y6B Class 2882 mallets, with the final unit, number 2200, rolling out in April 1952, 3 years after Baldwin had built the last domestic steam locomotive in America. These compound mallets were the ultimate refinement of a 33-year design evolution. With a boiler pressure of 300 psi and 58-inch driving wheels, the Y6B produced 5,500 horsepower and an astonishing 170,000 pounds of tractive effort in simple expansion mode after the 1952 booster valve modification. To prevent wheel slippage, the railroad had to add 26,000 pounds of lead ballast to the front engine frame. The Y6B regularly hauled 13 500-ton coal trains at 25 miles per hour, generating 5,000 indicated horsepower in the process. Many railroad historians, including engineer Greg Mills, have argued that considering its weight-to-power ratio, practical speeds, economy, and quantity built, the Y6B was the most successful articulated locomotive ever constructed. Tragically, every single Y6B was scrapped between 1959 and 1961, with the last preservation attempt for number 274 failing in Not one example survives today. Number 8. South African Class 9E. Now we travel to the deserts of South Africa, where 25 of the most specialized electric locomotives in the world began service in 1970. The Class 9E Series 1 was designed by the General Electric Company and built by Union Carriage and Wagon in Nigel, Transvaal, specifically to conquer the brutal Sishen-Saldanha iron ore line. Here's what made these locomotives extraordinary. They ran on 50,000 volts AC, double the standard voltage used elsewhere in South Africa. This was the longest 50-kilometer AC electrified railway line in the world at the time, chosen specifically to allow heavier loads and greater distances between transformers across the 535-mile route through hot, dry terrain. The Class 9E proved its impossible nature on August 26 and 27, 1989, when South African Railways assembled what was then the longest train in history, dubbed the Monster. Working alongside Class 37 diesel electrics, 9 Class 9E electric locomotives helped haul 660 ore trucks weighing 71,765 tons across the entire 535-mile route. Today, these locomotives still work in mixed consists of 9 to 12 units pulling 342 wagon trains stretching 3.78 kilometers, the longest production trains operating anywhere in the world. Number 7. Chesapeake and Ohio Class H8. Allegheny. Lima Locomotive Works built 62666 Allegheny class steam locomotives for the Chesapeake and Ohio Railway between 1941 and 1948. Designed in collaboration with C&O's Advisory Mechanical Committee, the Allegheny was named after the mountain range it would conquer, hauling West Virginia coal eastward. The horsepower numbers were unmatched. Dynamometer car readings during testing showed momentary readings as high as 7,498 horsepower, with sustained outputs of 6,700 to 6,900 horsepower at 45 miles per hour. According to railroad historian Eugene Huddleston in his book C&O Power, no one has published a higher dynamometer horsepower figure for any steam locomotive in history. The Allegheny weighed approximately 771,300 pounds, with the heaviest axle load of any steam locomotive at 86,700 pounds. 2 Alleghenies working together, one at the front and one shoving from the rear, could move 11,500-ton coal trains over the E.57% climb from Hinton, West Virginia to Allegheny, Virginia in just under 2 hours, twice as fast as the older H7s. The tragedy is that these locomotives were practically new when retired, with the oldest barely 10 years old. By 1956, all were gone except for 2 preserved examples, number 16/1 at the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan, and number 16/4 at the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Museum. Number 6. EMD SD40 Mac. The 1990s brought a horsepower war between General Electric and Electromotive Diesel, and EMD's answer was the SD40 Mac. Introduced in 1995, this 6-axle AC traction monster was designed around the brand-new 16-cylinder 265H engine, producing 6,000 horsepower from a single prime mover and offering 200,000 pounds of starting tractive effort with 137,000 pounds continuous. At 80 feet 2 inches long, the SD40 Mac featured radial steering trucks, an isolated safety cab mounted on shock absorbers, and the EM2000 microprocessor control system. Its dynamic braking could generate up to 115,000 pounds force of braking effort. On paper, it was the most advanced freight locomotive ever built. In reality, the 265H engine became one of the most troubled prime movers in locomotive history. Crankshaft failures, cylinder issues, and cooling system overheating plagued the design. EMD ended up shipping most early units with the older proven 4,300 horsepower 16 to 710G engine instead, creating the SD9043 Mac variant. Of approximately 410 SD90 Macs built, fewer than 70 ever ran with the actual 265H engine. The SD90 Mac's failure became a cautionary tale, proving that putting too much horsepower in a single locomotive isn't always the smart move when reliability suffers. Number 5. EMD DDA40X Centennial. If 2 engines fit on one frame, why not put 2 prime movers in one locomotive? That was Union Pacific's audacious thinking when they commissioned EMD to build the DDA40X with 2 16-cylinder 645 E3A diesel engines on a single 98-foot 5-inch frame. This beast produced a combined 6,600 horsepower, making it the most powerful diesel-electric locomotive ever built on a single frame. 47 were built, numbered 6,900 through 6,946. The first unit was delivered in April 1969, specifically to participate in the centennial celebrations of the first transcontinental railroad's completion at Promontory Summit, Utah. That's where the Centennial nickname came from. These 540,000-pound monsters featured a wide nose cab similar to the F-45 cowl units, geared at 5918 for top speeds of 90 miles per hour. Each Centennial accumulated approximately 2 million miles in service before retirement. They were so fast that two SD40-2s couldn't match their performance on premium freights, completing runs 45 minutes faster between Los Angeles and points east. UP 6936, the only operating Centennial today, was donated to the railroading heritage of Midwest America in 2022 and returned to service in August 20. Number 4. Russian 4ES5K Ermak. When you need to haul 700 tons of cargo through the frozen wilderness of Siberia along the Baikal-Amur main line, you need something special. Russia's Novocherkassk electric locomotive plant unveiled the 4-section 4ES5K Ermak in August 2014, and it changed the game completely. With a 1-hour rating of 13,120 kilowatts, equivalent to about 17,838 horsepower, the 4ES5K became the most powerful AC freight electric locomotive in the world. The design was specifically aimed at the Tayshit to Taximo section of the BAM Railway, allowing 7,100-ton trains to be hauled without needing additional helper locomotives or 9,000-ton trains on less steeply graded routes. What sets the Ermak apart is its axle-based traction control system, which dynamically distributes traction load between axles to maximize the locomotive's adhesion coefficient. Regenerative braking reduces specific traction power consumption by 15 to 17%. The 4-section design even includes a crew rest area with toilet facilities for those long hauls across frozen Siberian landscapes. Russian Railways has continued to expand the Ermak fleet, with deliveries continuing as a critical part of upgrading the BAM main line. Number 3. IORE Iron Ore Locomotive. Above the Arctic Circle, where temperatures plunge to 40 below zero and the polar night lasts for weeks, the IORE locomotive does what no other electric machine in Europe can match. Built by Adtranz and later Bombardier between 2000 and 2014, these 34 individual sections forming 17 permanently coupled double units haul iron ore from Sweden's Kiruna mines to the ice-free Norwegian port of Narvik. The specifications are mind-bending. Each double IORE unit weighs 360 tons, produces 10,800 kilowatts of power equivalent to 14,500 horsepower, and generates 1,200 kilonewtons of starting tractive effort. That's 270,000 pounds force. Some sources cite 1,400 kilonewtons or 315,000 pounds force for the full double unit configuration. Each set hauls 68 hopper cars carrying 8,600 tons of ore at speeds up to 80 kilometers per hour, conquering grades up to 1.5%. The IORE replaced the legendary DM3 triple locomotives and uses Soviet SA3 couplers because standard European couplers can't handle these loads. The IORE line moves over 25 million tons of iron ore annually, accounting for nearly half of all freight on Sweden's national rail network. In 2003, the line was upgraded to handle a 30-ton axle load, with axle loads now reaching 32.5 tons after recent upgrades. These locomotives represent the absolute peak of European heavy-haul engineering. Number 2. Union Pacific Big Boy. It would be impossible to discuss heavy-haul locomotives without the legendary Big Boy. The American Locomotive Company built 25 of these 4884 articulated steam locomotives for Union Pacific between 1941 and 1944, designed to haul 3,600-ton freight trains over the Wasatch Range between Ogden, Utah and Cheyenne, Wyoming. The numbers remain breathtaking. Each Big Boy weighed approximately 1.2 million pounds when fully loaded and stretched 132 feet, 10 inches from coupler to coupler. With a boiler pressure of 300 psi and 68-inch driving wheels, the original Big Boy produced 6,290 horsepower at 41 miles per hour and 135,375 pounds of starting tractive effort. Designed for stability at 80 miles per hour, it could routinely haul freight trains of up to 4,200 short tons. Each Big Boy was longer than 2 city buses combined. and weighed more than a Boeing 747. Most were scrapped, but 8 survived as static displays. Then came the impossible. Union Pacific reacquired number 40114 in 2013 and rebuilt it at the Cheyenne Steam Shop. On May 4, 2019, exactly in time for the 150th anniversary of the Transcontinental Railroad, Big Boy 40114 returned to service as the world's largest operating steam locomotive. After cylinder boring during restoration, its tractive effort actually increased to 138,240 pounds. In 2026, 40114 began its first coast-to-coast tour celebrating America's 250th anniversary. Number 1. GE AC6000CW BHP Iron Ore. We've reached the absolute champion, the locomotive that holds the world record that has stood for 25 years and counting. The GE AC6000CW was built by GE Transportation between 1995 and 2001. A 6-axle diesel-electric producing 6,000 horsepower from a single 7HDL16 prime mover. It weighed up to 432,000 pounds and stretched 76 feet long. While most AC6000CWs went to Union Pacific and CSX, the Australian mining giant BHP Billiton acquired just 8 of these monsters for their Mount Newman Railway in Western Australia. These were the only AC6000CWs ever exported outside the United States, and they were the most powerful locomotives ever to operate in Australia. On June 21, 2001, all 8 of BHP's AC6000CWs joined forces to attempt the impossible. They assembled a train of 682 wagons stretching 7.353 kilometers long, which is 4.568 miles, weighing 99,734 tons, including 82,000 tons of iron ore. Controlled by a single driver, with the 8 locomotives distributed throughout the train, using distributed power technology, this monster traveled 275 kilometers from the Yandi mine to Port Hedland in just over 10 hours. It took 6 minutes for the train to pass any single point. The combined locomotive horsepower was 50,000. According to Guinness World Records, this remains both the heaviest and longest train ever operated in history, a record that has stood since 2001 and remains unbroken in 2026. So that's it for today. If you like this video, then please hit the like and subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching.